class. I hope you all had a great Easter weekend. Today, I want you to go over your answers from your quiz from last week. I will either be grading or already have graded your quiz, but I wanted you to see how to work out every problem. Remember, this is preparation for your test coming up, okay? So just a hint, your test looks very much like this quiz. So anything you missed on this quiz, be sure to go over. Let me know if you need more work, more practice on a particular kind of problem. Send me an email, let me know. Otherwise, go over these procedures in preparation for your test, okay? Okay, so number one is a probability problem. 2 whites, 3 blues. So I said 2 whites and 3 blues give me a total of 5. We want to know the probability both are blue if we don't replace our first draw. So the first draw, I have the probability of 3 out of 5 getting a blue. But then I'm not replacing it, so I got to change my blues to 2 and my total to 4. So the probability when I go to grab the next one that it's going to be blue is 2 out of 4. Gives me 6 out of 20, reduces to 3 out of 10. Number 2. She saves $12 when she buys a shirt on a 25% off sale. So the $12 is the change in the price. That's how much she is saving. We want to know the original price. So I filled in my percent category. It was a savings of 25%. That means 100 minus our 25 would give us 75%. We want to know the original price, so I want this number. So I'm going to get rid of that category. 100 over 25 is equal to the original over 12. I do my cross products. The original price is $48. What are the requirements for a graph to be a graph of a direct variation? Well, we've done this several times. Our graph must be a straight line, not a curve. And it has to go to or through the origin. That means if x is 0, y must be 0 when we do our xy chart or a function table. Okay. We want to evaluate this. For when x is negative 8, y is 4. So instead of x, I'm going to use negative 8. 2 times negative 8 is negative 16. Minus 4, negative 16, negative 4. I could add the opposite. A negative 16 and a negative 4 make negative 20. Okay, sequence. A sub n equals 2 to the n. Remember, the a just means the value of the term. So if we want to know the sixth term, then we would say the value of the sixth term is equal to 2 to the sixth. 2 to the sixth is 64. Okay, now this next one had a lot in it. So we've got this trapezoid sitting inside of a rectangle. Okay, hopefully you saw that how the trapezoid sits creates 2 right triangles on either side. Okay, so they want to know how long Vx is and how long Uy is. Okay, and they give us that this is 12, 5, 9. This whole thing is 20. So we have to do our Pythagorean theorem, right? So Vx is the first one. 5 squared plus 12 squared is equal to c squared. So that I did all my multiplying out. I get 169 is equal to c squared. I square root both sides. C, which in this case is Vx, has to be equal to 13 centimeters. Okay, same thing for this one. 9 squared plus 12 squared, 225 is equal to c squared. Square root both sides. C, which in this case is Uy, this should be a y that I wrote here. Uy is equal to 15 centimeters. Okay? Now they want the area of the trapezoid. So the formula is base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2 times the height. So I know one of my bases is 20. The other one, this side is 9, this side is 5 here. 9 and 5 make 14. That means this little section has to be 6 centimeters. So 6 centimeters and 20 centimeters, I end up with 26 over 2, which is 13, times my height of 12, 156 centimeters squared for the area. Okay. Number 8. What is 33 1/3% of $12? Well, you might know that 33 1/3% is the same as 1/3. If not, you could make this an improper fraction. 133 times 3 is 99, plus 1 is 100 over 3. And I could get rid of the percent sign by dividing by 100, which means multiply by the reciprocal, and I get to my 1/3. Hopefully you've got it memorized though. 1/3 of 12 is $4. Solve and graph on a number line. Negative 5x minus 6 is less than negative 1. So I added 6 to both sides. Plus 6 here, plus 6 here gives me negative 5x is less than 5. Now I need to divide both sides by negative 5 to get x by itself. But remember, when we divide or multiply an inequality by a negative, to isolate the variable, our comparison symbol has to reverse, okay? So over here, my negative 5 and my negative 5 cancel. I'm just left with x. My comparison symbol reverses. 5 divided by negative 5 is negative 1. So now x is greater than negative 1. So I graphed it here, open circle on negative 1. My arrow goes to the right. Okay, volume of a cylinder, okay? Hopefully you remembered that our volume formula is equal to area of the base times the height. Okay, in this case, our base is a circle. So capital B, area of the base, is pi r squared. The diameter is 8, that means r is 4. 4 squared is 16, times pi gives me 50.24 centimeters squared, times my height of 15 centimeters. 50.24 times 15 gave me 753.6 centimeters cubed for the volume. Lateral surface area of the cylinder. Okay, remember, lateral means the side. Well, on a cylinder, if we were to tear that, like I did on the Lysol container, if I were to unwrap that side, my shape would end up being a rectangle. Okay, now we know the height of the rectangle is the same as the height of the cylinder, but the difficult part is to figure out the length of that rectangle. Okay, remember the length is equal to the circumference of the base. Since the base is a circle, think about that side wrapping around. When we unroll it, that length is the same as the circumference of the base. So pi times diameter gives me 25.12 centimeters. So length times, or base times height now, 376.8 centimeters squared for the lateral surface area. They don't ask for the total surface area, so we don't have to include the bases. Number 12, solve for y. So my first step was, okay, I said what's happening to the term with the y in it? It's being added by w, so I'm going to subtract w on both sides. That gives me 5y is equal to x minus w. Now to get y by itself, I got to divide by 5. Divide by 5 here, divide by 5 here. These cancel. Y equals x minus w over 5. Number 13 is our graphing question. Okay, so they give us this equation. Now this one is not in slope-intercept form. That would be y equals everything else. This one is in standard form. So the easiest way to graph would be to use our intercepts. What is y when x is 0? What is x when y is 0? So this was my xy chart using my intercepts. Then I graph my points. 0, negative 2 is here. Negative 4, 0 is here. I draw the graph of my line. Okay. Okay, we got to use 2 unit multipliers to convert 440 yards per minute to miles per hour. For 440 yards per minute, that's per 1 minute. So I got rid of my yards first. Okay, in the problem it says 1,760 yards is equal to a mile. So this cancels my yards here. And then I have minutes on the bottom here, so I'm going to put minutes on the top here to convert minutes to hours. And then I multiplied 440 by 60 and divided by 1,760. I get 15 miles per hour. Solve for x here. So 1/3 x minus 2/3 is equal to 0. So I added 2/3 to both sides, and I got 1/3 x is equal to 2/3. Then I said, what's happening to x? It's getting multiplied by 1/3, so I have to divide by 1/3, which means multiply by the reciprocal. The reciprocal is 3 over 1. Multiply both sides by 3 over 1. These all cancel out. I'm left with x is equal to 2/3 times 3 over 1. These cancel out. X is equal to 2. Same type problem here, but only with decimals. I combine my x's. So I'm going to subtract 0.4x on both sides. This gets rid of it over here. 0.3x minus 0.4x gives me negative 0.1x is equal to negative 0.5. I divide both sides by negative 0.1 to get x by itself. And my answer is x equals 5. 17 was a combine like terms problem. I combine my x squares, 2x squareds here, and another x squared gives me 3x squared. 3x is here and a negative x. 3 and negative 1 gives me, whoops, this should be positive 3x squared plus 2x. Okay? Okay. Number 18. Okay, so this one was, we had to know about combining, if we have the same base, we had to know about combining exponents. We had to know about negative exponents. Okay, so what I did first here was I said, well, I've got 4 times 2 on top, so I went ahead and made that 8. And then I said x squared and x to the third combined to make x to the fifth. And then y to the negative 1, I know if I have a negative exponent here, this y needs to get pushed down here to be y to the 1 on the bottom. And I put that on the bottom there. And then I just had 6x to the fourth here, and then the y squared here. Okay, and then I started combining and reducing. Okay, so this was 8 and 6, I reduced to 4 over 3. X to the fifth, x to the fourth, I reduced those, or actually I just combined y1 and y2 to get y to the third, okay? And then I finally got rid of my x's that canceled, okay? So these are on the bottom, all canceled out. I was left with 1 on top, 4x over 3y to the cubed. Okay, 3 times a negative 1 gives me negative 3, minus negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. And then I'm going to add the opposite, I get negative 7. Last one, radical 8 times radical 10. I broke my 8 down into 4 times 2. I broke 10 down into 2 times 5. The root of 4 is 2. 2 comes out. 2 times 2 is 4. The root comes out 2, so I end up with 4 on the outside, radical 5 on the inside. Okay, hope you did well, and I hope you will go over this to prepare for your test, test 17. Okay, bye guys, see you later.